can applaud. It's okay. Thank you very much, Jim. Whenever I come to speak with Jim, I know two things will happen. Either we're gonna be in a nice restaurant, so there'll be food, or I'll be on TV. So those two things are happening at the same time. We are in a restaurant and we are on TV as well. So as Jim mentioned, my name is Bizindavyi. I'm the president of Goal Achievers Canada. It's a Canadian division of Goal Achievers International, and what we do, we help people achieve their goals using coaching and mastermind. So that's what I do since May last year. I'm the president of that company, and I've been speaking with Jim for a number of times. And so yesterday we were chatting and talking about this event, and he told me there are people registered. So I said, yeah, I will come and speak. But at that time I didn't even know what I was going to speak about. And around midnight yesterday, which was today, midnight, I received a phone call from a friend of mine, and I had a very good friend of mine who was at hospital. She's 26 years old, and I just learned that she died yesterday. It was shocking, and I was with my wife, and we cried, and because we went to see her, and she was doing better, and we didn't understand why those things happen, And I started thinking, so why bad things happen? Why are we expecting something good and then something bad happen? I have no answer really. But what I know, what I've experienced is that whenever we face a challenge, either we were not expecting it most of the time, or we're expecting something different. We're expecting something good to happen, and then this thing happened, and then we have no answer. But what I learned from my own experience that is it, after a while, looking back, we understand why those things happen, but only after a while. But once we're going through that, we don't really understand. A number of years ago, I came to Canada in 2002, but way before that, my younger brother, had the same dream. He wanted to come to Canada. He tried once, he failed. He tried second time, he failed again. And then in 2002, I came here, and of course I was emailing him how Canada is beautiful and how it's a nice place, and he wanted so bad to come. And after a while, he was finishing his university. He was an engineer and was looking for a job. And he got a job offer way in the north of the country, just in the country over there. At first, he didn't want to go. He would say, okay, there was no internet there. I want to go to Canada. It's way even farther from the city. But he needed money. He needed to survive. So he decided to take the job. He went there, but he made sure every weekend he would come back to the city just to, to go on the internet, find out how we can go to Canada and talk to his brother. And after the first year, he was so good at his job that he got a scholarship to do his master's in Europe. And he didn't want to go because his dream was Canada. But he thought, Europe, why not? So he went to Europe. After the first 6 months, he learned that there was a program you can apply for and you can immigrate to Canada. He was like, okay, let me try it. So he applied and he was accepted. But before he came here, after his first year, because he has a scholarship for 2 years, after his first year, he went to England to see a friend of ours. In England, he met his future wife. And now, he's here in Toronto with me, with his wife. So looking back, to that, it's a very good story. But this guy, my brother, he wanted to go from Burundi, when we were born, to Canada. But he didn't know that his trip from Burundi to Canada will lead him to north of the country where he didn't want to go, Belgium where he didn't want to go, England when he met his wife, and then finally Toronto. So every time he thought it was a challenge. I want to go up country, it's a challenge. No, it's a job. You will get a scholarship. You go to Europe. He didn't want to go to Belgium. His dream was to go to Canada. And then to England, then here. Now he's happily married. So every step of the way, every journey is an opportunity. Even though we think it's a challenge, it is an opportunity. But we don't see it as an opportunity. Now, maybe he would have succeeded to come to Toronto, but let's say he'll be single, no wife. But everywhere he went, he learned something that led him to his goal. So most of the time we think that a goal is from A to B, it's just a straight line. It's never a straight line. Most of the time, it's you go forward and then you come back, and then you go forward and come back. Why? Because there are things we need to learn along the way. There are things that need to happen before we achieve our goal, like patience. You know, we want things to happen right now. No, yesterday. You know, we want things to happen in a certain way. No. You have to go through challenges. You have to go through learning curves. You have to, and once you understand that, you learn to embrace challenge. Because challenge is part of the package. Things that are happening to us, sometimes we don't even understand them. But it's part of the package. 5 years from now, you will look back and you will learn that all those things needed to happen for you to get here. So maybe you are facing a challenge, I don't know. Because that's part of life. Challenges are part of life. But once you learn to go with the flow, you learn to embrace the challenge and learn that there is something to learn from the experience, you will get there. If, only if you don't give up. Because people give up. You say, I want to do this, and the first thing you do, you succeed a little bit, and then boom, something happened. You give up. You try again, you give up. And then you will never do it. That's what you think. But that is part of the challenge. Whatever you're facing, embrace it. Because there is always two sides of the coin. There is what you think is a bad thing, but it's a blessing. Because you need to learn that, you need to face that, you need to go through that to understand that the person who started the journey and the person who finishes the journey are two different people in our way of thinking, in what we learn. It could take years. Nelson Mandela, the greatest African president ever been, it took him 27 years in prison. 27 years in prison to understand about forgiveness, to understand about patience, to understand about leadership, and then he was the best president they ever had. Had he had been free for those 27 years, I don't think he'll be the president they had. So whatever you're going through, just embrace it. It's part of the package. It's part of the journey. Just go with it. Understand it's a learning process, but don't ever give up. That's my thought. Thank you very much.
All right. Does anybody have any